Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Sara Mehle, Index Research Strategist with Nasdaq Investment Intelligence. She joins us to discuss Nasdaq 100 performance, what's driving the Nasdaq 100 Index, but not necessarily from the Mag 7 perspective. It's great to have you with us as always, Sara. Welcome back to Trade Talks, and let's discuss performance that we've had so far this year and kind of out of the context away from the Mag 7.
Yeah, so Jill, this year, the Nasdaq 100 Index is up about 9%, a little over 9% so far on a total return basis, and added 3.3% this week. So putting it on track for the highest or best, strongest week since the end of January of this year. NVIDIA is still driving the index higher so far this year. It's added over 3%. And, I've touched on the broad sector breakdown before where tech is clearly driving the index higher. And we've also touched on the Mag 7 breakdown as well. But today I want to just split that out into the ICB subsector breakdown, which gets a little more granular. There are 41 subsector groups represented in the Nasdaq 100 Index today, so spanning from motels and motels, specialty retailers, entertainment, consumer digital services, oil, crude oil, all of those different groups. On the screen here, I have the top 5 and bottom 5 contributing subsectors to the Nasdaq 100's total return this year. So out of that 9.1% that the Nasdaq 100 has gained, 4.7 of that can be attributed to the semiconductor subsector. Within that group, there are 13 names, which I'll go over, but some other groups that are top performing here or top adding consumer digital services, which contains Google and Meta, so more of those Mag 7 names. Down to software, that's Microsoft and Adobe. Diversified retailers, adding, 1.1%. That's Amazon and Costco. And then production tech equipment, that is Applied Materials, I believe. In the autos group, that is the group that is lagged out of all of these 41 groups. And that group is made up solely of Tesla, and that's lagged the index 1.1%. And then when the computer hardware group, that actually contains Apple. So as we talked about a few weeks ago, I think that this is another way of looking and just driving home the fact that all of these Mag 7 names are not necessarily moving hand in hand.
All right. Well, let's isolate the semis in particular with those 13 names that you had mentioned.
Yeah, so there's 13 stocks right now in the Nasdaq 100 Index that make up this ICB subsector group, the semiconductor group. NVIDIA, again, adding 3.2% of that 9.1% of the Nasdaq 100's total year-to-date return. Clearly the leader. But right behind it, we have Broadcom that's almost added a full percent, 0.9% so far this year, and followed by AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. So the majority of these stocks have contributed positively. NVIDIA is the clear leader here. And I did want to point out that there actually is one name that has dragged this group, and that is Intel, down about 0.3%. But overall, whether we're looking at it from the Mag 7 point of view, whether we're looking from broad tech, really is the tech and the NVIDIA stock that is really driving this index higher.
And finally, let's get a technical read on the charts here. What can you discern from the point and figure?
The strong performance is reflected on the point and figure chart. This chart actually gave a triple bottom sell signal in the last week, but quickly returned to a buy signal with yesterday's market action and is now matched up against that all-time high touched when we last spoke, actually on March 8th. So now, again, we're up against that resistance, a move to 18,500, mark a new all-time high for the index. And now we have support at that 17,800 level. The chart is clearly well above that bullish support line. On the chart here, I actually put a big green arrow just to show how much of, this chart is moving from the left to the right and upward. Return to a buy signal again, which is a positive sign. And the Nasdaq 100, based on that 10-week trading band, is about 50% oversold, which is right in a normal range. So not too overbought, not too oversold. And again, that positive trend, the price action continues to generally move higher. But overall, with the semiconductor push, with the NVIDIA strength, the overall weight of the index here is positive as we end out the first quarter of 2024.
All right, Sara, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.